Ladies and gentlemen of the old world, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the Tides of Torment. It's going to be myself on Norsca facing off against Dob Place and the Beastmen here on the Southern Chaos Wastes, and let's go ahead and pause since we are playing Conquest and are basically deployed on top of each other. Dob went with a full Vanguard build, and yeah, let's break it down. So as far as my army goes, we have a bunch of new stuff, a couple of basic Marauder Horsemen, but in the middle, we do have the new ROR, which is the Riders of the Mighty Serpent. These guys are pretty cool because they have an aura, which is called Battle Song. So when an enemy is nearby, it gives nearby allies leadership and makes them cause fear. So in the late game, if you're trying to chase down some tattered units on the edge of the map, for example, or just rear charge something, having that fear can be nice, and the leadership as well. So for example, you could use the Riders of the Mighty Serpent with the new Kurgan Horsemen, which I didn't use in this battle, but trust me, there'll be plenty of action of those. But they could also buff up their leadership and give them a little bit more staying power. Now, in the front line, we have the new infantry, which are going to be the Marauder Bearmen. I was about to say Marauder Beastmen, but no, the Marauder Bearmen. So these guys are cool. They're tankier Marauders. They have more HP, generally slightly better stats, but they do cost a couple hundred more. But they're also immune to psychology as well. So an interesting mid-tier infantry for Norsca. Marauder Champions in the middle, just to anchor my position. We do have more Marauders in the back, just baseline cheap ones, 2 Skin Wolves, but the new goodies. So this is probably my new favorite Norscan unit. I love the Cursed ETIN. Now this thing is totally the guy from Scary Movie. Give me a strong hand. He's up here with the strong hand. But this guy, he has a couple bounce spells. So this is the ROR. The regular ETIN doesn't have spells. It's basically just a giant that gets one ability when it's healthy and one ability when it's damaged and has big armor piercing. But this one is a spellcaster, which is really, really fun. He's got 2 Flock of Dooms, 2 Doom and Darknesses, Enfeebling Foe. When he's injured below 50%, he heals, generates power reserve, and recharge rate as well. And on top of that, when he's healthy, he basically negates magical damage nearby and loses a little bit of spell power. But yeah, I really like the Cursed ETIN. It's super fun. Now, Sayl the Faithless is quite a good character, and he looks super rad also. But what we're going to be bringing to the table is going to be Shalkane's Teeth. This ability is nuts. It's basically like Krokar's Hand of the Gods, maybe something to keep an eye on for being a little bit overtuned, but sometimes, I don't know, we'll see. So we do have Windblast as well, and he does have a hybrid lore of magic, Heavens and Shadow magic. And on top of that, he's got all the War Shrine stuff and his unique lore passive here, which is when he casts spells, it basically damages enemy lords or heroes, like Kiss of the Deep, but just targeting heroes and legendary lords. So yeah, Bearmen, Skin Wolves, we do have the new Riders of the Mighty Serpent, the Cursed ETIN, and oh, how could I forget the Dreadmaw? So this is one of the weirdest units in the game, man. It is so unique in terms of mechanics. So the Dreadmaw creeps underground. It's an okay melee fighter, but it cannot move normally. So it tunnels under the ground and you pop up from the ground. And when it pops up from the ground, it does damage, but then it can't move. And you have a long-term cooldown called Deep Tunneling, which it can teleport somewhere and pop up instantly. But when that's on cooldown, you have to resubmerge and move around where he's untargetable underground. And yeah, it's a really, really interesting one. You'd think it'd be overpowered, but yeah, in my experience, I don't know, it never gets crazy value, but we'll see. We've been playing Conquest. I wonder how Domination parking one on an objective could deter people. It does have a ranged attack, but the ranged attack isn't too much damage. It's super fun to use though. I love the flavor of it. Now for Dob's army, he's going to be using the new Beastmen. So Ungors and Slangors. Slangors are quite good, I think. You know, all the new Gors are always good. These guys are dual weapon, so they have bonus versus infantry, and they're also very fast, and they do have the pleasure through pain. So the more damage they take, the faster, and yeah, they get quicker, they get better charge bonus and melee attack as well, and their ITP. Aside from that, the last things we're going to be looking at before we jump into this match are the Chimeras. Chimeras are on the Beastmen, but they're also on Norsca. Now, these things are awesome. They have breath attacks, but the thing I really like about them, so you can see the breath attack here, but when they land on the ground, you can activate this ability, and they heal. So let's say you fight, it gets damaged, you run away, you land on the ground, it makes it invisible, and then it starts healing. It's a really, really cool monster. So he does have the regular Chimera as well as the ROR, which I think this one has, yeah, Perfect Predator, and yeah, the regular one just has Flaming Breath Attack, but this is the one that can heal, the Bloodshriek Chimera. All right, let's get this party started and see how it goes. So the battle's on. Sayl going to be giving a little motivational speech to the boys. You know, he's really a team player. He's not a creepy betrayer or anything weird like that. And the battle does rage on here as my Marauder Horsemen do poke forward here. Pork forward soon. They're fighting Beastmen, so I guess there are some hogs on that roster. But yes, we are going to be clashing soon, using the Cursed ETIN to use some foul magic on Beastmen blobs, and preparing the Skin Wolves to fend off some of the scary threats on the wing. So the Marauder Horsemen trying to wear down the Slangors, but the Slangors do love the pain. Using Marauder Bearmen in the front line should be able to dominate the Ungabunga Spearmen pretty effectively. And now the Big Daddy Mammoth is going to be coming across here. Make sure I got the game sound on. Yes, we do. So first ability that's going to be going down is the creepy Shadow Maw. So you can see him coming up from the pits, and he does a bunch of damage for sure. He's going to be able to rip and tear through those Beastmen, and you'll see the HP going down pretty rapidly here as we peek in there. And that was a juicy one, hitting those guys, and tickling the other formation as well. Cursed ETIN pulling back a little bit. I saw he did have some Unga Bunga Raiders. Did not want any of that smoke. Really nice breath attack by Dov. He set up that Chimera on the flank. Hit some great damage and also gets a really nice Flock of Doom against my army in the back. But meanwhile, in the front, Slangor's engaging versus Bearmen, but Sayl is really, really good on his Mammoth, as are any Mammoths, at cutting down infantry. So we're going to be using him to try and dive the archers here. Probably not worth it because we're losing out on the aura, but we will see. So he's pressuring me with spears in the back, using the Marauders to try and screen them out. He does have triple Centaur in the wing, so we're going to form ranks with these Marauders here, see what we can do. And the Dreadmaw is so easy to forget about. But I do get a good Wind Blast down there, break some of those Ungor Raiders, so they get hit by the Windstruck, which is, I don't know if that's a new ability, but it does lower their speed, acceleration, and charge bonus. Not Manticore, but Chimera getting a nice breath while my infantry screen these guys out. And now, look at that, using the Doom and Darkness here, the Cursed ETIN getting a big bonk and slowing down those Centaurs, and now he's going for it with his one strong hand. Skinwolves also in the backfield being used to fight Centaurs, should be very good against those, and let's get some cool shots of the, give me a strong hand. He's going in. He is going in. Don't worry, the Dreadmaw will come. I totally just spaced out. There was so much going on, and I was like, look, it was funny in my mind during the battle. I was looking for him, and I just couldn't find him. I was like, where's my Dreadmaw? But yes, it is underground, and he will emerge. So, Sayl the Faithless doing it. Dov and I had an agreement where he left his Slangors AFK, and I left my Dreadmaw, and we actually reminded each other at the same time. We're like, hey man, I think we're both like missing some units here. So on the flank, Skinwolves fighting it out with the Cursed ETIN, and the Cursed ETIN is a pretty tanky boy, and even if he does take damage, he still heals. So I'm totally okay with the ETIN getting a little bit of a beatdown right there. But now the Dreadmaw has emerged, and it is going to be munching on these guys. So it did pop out, and it did do AoE damage when it pops out, and is now also going to be attacking in. The Mammoth coming back in here, and in the backfield, we're using the Marauder Horsemen to continue diving tattered units where we can. Cursed ETIN looking good. And so far, balance of power is pretty even. In terms of the value trading, I would say the game is very, very close here. The Dreadmaw, you see how it can't move? I gave it an attack order, and it will use its range attack if it can. But you need to be pretty on top of moving that thing around. In Domination, I think it'll be better because you can, park it on objectives. Granted, in some game modes, you could go double Dreadmaw against like Grand Cathay or Archer lines, and you can pop them up in your opponent's Archer line and just have like a 10,000 HP monster who's really tough to get rid of, right? Kind of cool. All right, so the ETIN trying to do the Mike Tyson right hook over here against the Chimera, but Dov doing a very good job with his Chimeras, bouncing around. Skinwolves getting a little bit broken up. Slangor is proving their mettle as fighters, as they're trading very well. That is the Schlockane's teeth. So that was Sayl the Faithless with his magic missile that he has, like his equivalent of Hand of the Gods. I've noticed it's really mediocre if you're not on the Mammoth, but if you get that high angle on the Mammoth, it does great work. Another ability coming out here, we do see the Nightmaw coming. He's creeping through the shadows and does rip through those Ungors. Not an obscene amount of damage, but, still not terrible. As the big Mammoth does move back in, Sayl going to be doing what he can, and the Cursed ETIN going to be supporting his boy. Dreadmaw's creeping. We're getting it over here, getting ready to tunnel in as we do get into the later stages of the game. Wind Blast right there, going to be tearing through the Ungor Raiders while the big Dreadmaw does move in, getting ready to pop up. And you'll see it ambush in a second. We'll pay very, very close attention. Actually a close game because he's got two Chimeras, both of which are really good AP fighters, like 500 weapon strength, good stats. I have a Mammoth, I have the Cursed ETIN and the Dreadmaw, so this game is actually razor, razor close right now, guys. All right, so we're going to be popping up here in a second. And the Cursed ETIN going to be engaging, and here comes the Dreadmaw. So it pops up from the earth. Oh, tremors! It's so cool! All right. So yes, it will be able to wreck these raiders pretty good, but you can simply run away from it, right? So still gets a big terror out though when it does pop up. Now back in the combat, we are going to be getting the Nightmaw. Is that what that one's called? I'm still very, very new to all this stuff. I think it is called the Nightmaw. Yes, you have the Dreadmaw and the Nightmaw, and it is able to wreck those Ungors. Sayl getting attacked pretty heavily by not only Malagor, but also by the Chimera. And the Dreadmaw just kind of eyeing these guys menacingly. As they walk by, he's like, ah, perfect, a snack of opportunity as they do cruise by. Flock of Doom going down, and Flock of Doom is going to be from Malagor. I've already used all my Flock of Dooms on the Cursed ETIN, who has gotten about 800 value so far. Sayl, of course, decent little fighter here. He's just a Mammoth, he's on the Mammoth. It's more of a accessory for him there. But Dov does have a fair amount of Slangors. Neither of us are playing the objective. This is Conquest mode, which is, I think, I really like Conquest mode. I think it's a great improvement upon Land Battle. But Dreadmaw boinking it out down here. Sayl the Faithless going to be doing what he can. And the Cursed ETIN Rune Caller popping in. And he's not as strong as the regular ETIN in straight up fighting, but he does still do good work. He's got 550 weapon strength, And against the, the Blood Tree Chimeras, they have 80 armor, so I suppose they mitigate some of that. Now, my Horsemen are just running in circles, trying to shut down archers where we can. Skin Wolves still battling against the Slongors, very, very low, but this is very much going to become an old-school monster mash, right? It's going to be his monsters versus my monsters. Now, the one thing I do have going for me is we have this Teeth ability, so Sayl is going to be using it right here, shooting up into the Chimera, blasting it in the face, and it will take some considerable damage, but he responds with a breath attack, and I shoot him in the face with a magic missile, so very lovely exchange between those two Chaos Heretics here. Now, I know I need to shut down some of the archers. Horsemen just encircling, and I'm basically just trying to run down whatever I can, whatever tattered units we can possibly get. And the Dreadmaw has gone back underground. So it's underground, so it can move around. Dav going to be coming in to take a fight as we do get another Wind Blast right there on those Ungors. And now Mammoth, only 6 melee defense, afflicted by the enfeebling foe. Certainly not loving that. Chimera is doing a bunch of work. A little bit of danger right here. Balance of power is dead even as we approach the 6-minute mark. And the Unga Bunga Raiders going to be shooting at the back. And we just use our Horsemen to run down some tattered Spearmen here who are very, very low. And even though the Horsemen aren't great against spears, it's just kind of a numbers game. So back in combat, Cursed ETIN and Dreadmaw's going to be popping up. Dad emerges from the earth. Tremors. Oh, yeah, dude. And I don't know if he went back under or what happened. No, that was just an attack animation. Okay, so he does manage to get the rear attack on the Chimera, do some good work there. Sayl the Faithless getting it done, and we just barely scrape by. If we had actually lost Sayl there, I think he might have been able to pull some Witchcraft, but that probably closes out the game as now the Mammoth is going to be running down the Chimeras. One is very low. We still have the mobility. We have the Cursed ETIN more or less at full health. And if he does get injured, I get more magic too, which is nice. A little timing Wind Blast right there to tickle them. And, it actually lowers their speed and acceleration. Kind of cool. Horseman turning about face. Sayl is, of course, on a Warshrine Mammoth, so it's going to be giving Vigor replenishment. Oh, that's so good. They're all fresh. No wonder I won that fight. All my monsters are fresh. His were exhausted. Oh, that's so cool. Forgot about that. Yeah, I don't use the Warshrines terribly often. Some Norscan players do swear by them and use them a bit, but yep, there goes the ETIN using his strong hand to bonk those guys down, and we do see the Dreadmaw just kind of sitting menacingly here. Its range is 200, so it can shoot from a distance and poke. The forbidden domination strategies will be to put 3 Dreadmaws, 1 on each objective, although I think you can only bring 2 in a build, but yeah, there he goes. Look at that, shooting up in the sky. I think that actually hit him there as well. So from here, we approach the 8-minute mark in the game. The Cursed ETIN going to be getting a strong hand. Oh, I thought he was going in with the small hand. He was like waving it around there. But yes, Wind Blast activated, nailing down the Slongors. Army losses kicking in as Malagor does lose to Sayl the Faithless. And GG, well played. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. It was a really, really fun game. And if you guys don't know who Dav is, make sure to check out his YouTube channel. He freaking rules. Dav is an old friend of mine. I've known him for, 8 years now, give or take. He runs a great channel that focuses on Conquest. A lot of our early access games will be in Conquest because, most of the people we've been playing with are Conquest players. Well, there will be Domination as well, don't you worry. But yeah, man, Dav's great. He's awesome. Great sport, always fun to play with, and truly an OG of the Total War community. So check out his channel. There'll be a link in the comment section below. And Slangors. Slangors were great. They did pretty good considering they were getting run over by huge monsters. The Chimeras, 1,500, 1,400. We did get 4,600 between the Nightmaws and the Flock of Dooms, and also his Teeth ability where he shoots the magic missile. Very good. The ETIN got 1,300, not bad. It still had a lot to give. The Dreadmaw only got 400 value, but apparently, I think there might be a bug where it doesn't show the Dreadmaw's value from his AoE explosion. So when he pops up from the earth, he does like a lot of AoE damage, and I think that it doesn't show that. I did a little bit of testing, and it doesn't seem to track it. So I think he probably got closer to 700 or 800 value. The Bearmen are nice. Not crazy value in this game. They kind of got bullied by the Chimeras and the Breath Attacks and by the Slangors, but I like having an ITP infantry unit. I'd probably still lean more into Marauders rather than pay the extra premium for these guys, but, something to explore. There is a great weapon version as well. All right, guys, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed these new units in action, and we will be back with a ton of replays of from the early build here all throughout the week. It's coming. The goodies are here, and I have a lot of fun replays. See you guys around, and big thanks to Dav for the games.